It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans trying to put a stop to a 5-game losing skid. Tomorrow night at Nissan Stadium, they host the Dallas Cowboys for Thursday Night Football, and it will be the 4th career start for Malik Willis at quarterback. Mike Vrabel spoke with the media yesterday commenting on how Willis is handling the workload now compared to earlier in the season.
I think it's gotten better. There's been some, real positives, and then some things that we're continuing to try to work on and correct and work on the progression and work on just speeding up things and the communication and all the things that go into playing quarterback.
Bowl season starting to heat up in college football. More Power 5 matchups today. Coming up in just a few moments, kickoff of the Military Bowl between UCF and Duke. 2 SEC games today. Arkansas faces Kansas, and the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. That's at 4:30, and Ole Miss takes on Texas Tech in the Texas Bowl tonight at 8. SEC play starts tonight on the hardwood. 7th-ranked Tennessee heads to Ole Miss for a 4 p.m. tip-off. Vanderbilt off today. They will commence SEC play next week. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tell you about that. Blaine and Mickey, what's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, hump day, nexus of the between Christmas and New Year's universe, right in the middle.
This is what you love, right?
We're going to be hanging around with you for the next couple of hours, then 3HL will get you the rest of the way home. This is, it's crazy to think the Titans have another game tomorrow, so this is like Saturday because tomorrow is Sunday in the football world. They got to figure out who to play, Blaine. They got to figure out, are they going to sit people or are they not going to sit people? You and me were talking about this down the hall. Ooh.
No, that's not the first thing that comes to my mind. Thursday game, you played Sunday.
Yep.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And with the injury issues, you go, man, I wonder if this is the reason why, or one of the reasons, obviously, that the league is having injury issues, including the Titans, of course, because I just don't think NFL is built for Sunday and then play Thursday, as far as health-wise. So when they say that we're trying to keep our players safe, your actions always speak louder than your words because it's always about that moolah. It's about that money and, playing on Thursday. So, yeah, that's the first thing that come to mind is recovery time and what your body's trained and conditioned to do. Mondays is an easier deal, or Sunday night. Even if you move a game to Saturday, I don't think that's a big deal. But Thursday, that's a shorter window to play in the NFL where you're playing in the most physical sport in the world and exhausting everything you have to then think you can get back up to that high. So I'll be interested to see which team can get up to that level of play and play consistently throughout the game, let alone the guys who are injured in the backups of the backups can go out there and duplicate that again.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. And then, the tell of the tape is we're having a conversation, which is really hard for me being a former player. And I bet this is really tough for Vrabel in deciding if you should actually play players or not. And we're built in our mind frame as a former player of Vrabel to play every game. So it's really hard to dial that back and say, well, this one doesn't mean as much, but this last one is everything. And then who to play or not play or partly play. These are questions that, I don't know if I would have the right answer because I think I would probably dress everybody and want to play and then see how the game is going because I want to win. Because the main thing here, I know everybody's going to say is you have to win the Jaguars game. We're on a 5-game losing streak. I don't care what the heck we do next week, but if we don't change this momentum swing and get things in the right direction and win a game, then we're not going to win the next game anyway. I don't care who plays. So that's where it comes from for me, which could be dumb on my part, I guess, playing guys and then they actually, Big Jeff or Autry or whoever else you want to Henry. The receivers, they're all of them going to play. So offensive lineman, that's all we got. So, yeah, this one's a tough call for me. I probably would start off playing Henry and trying to win the game. And then as the team, as the game goes along, I would probably start monitoring and playing guys in and out rotating them in and out, depending if we're blowing them out or they're blowing us out, or sort of tight game. Yeah, that's probably how I would approach it. But that's a tough pill for me.
I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it just so people can hear you say, and you play with a broken arm and a club on your arm and torn meniscus and all those other things. If somebody had gone to you and be like, hey, Blaine, if Fish had come down the hall like, hey, man, you want to sit Thursday, get yourself right for, we got to win this final game. I think you would have been like, are you bleeping crazy?
No. They would approach me totally different just because of my personality. So they would have came down here and said, we're going to sit you this game. Not do you want, we're going to sit you this game. It's got to be a defined definition. This is what we're doing here to get ready for the next game, because we want to give your knee an extra, week to rest, and so you can drain it and get everything and be as healthy as possible for this last game, which ones count. That's how they got to approach me. Can't be saying, do you want to see? Because every player is going to say, this is why you say it that way. Every player is going to say, I'm going to play.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it. The king has to flip and go, I'm not playing. No, so I would go into this game and probably wouldn't have told anybody if they're not playing until I decided not to play them on game day.
Oh.
Because I want them to have the mindset and the mind frame in preparation for the actual game. It's no different than like all of a sudden you retire, Tom Brady, and then you come back 3 weeks later. It's a totally, once you turn that clock off, I'm done with that. It's hard to go back. And then he's been talking about all week preparation and doing more than what's required, as my term. But that's what he's really saying is, what are you doing when you get away from the building? And I've always been a big proponent of that. Do more than what's just asked and required. Because you're a professional. All of us don't work when we just get in here in the studio. When you're in the facility from whatever time, 8 to 4 or whatever time it is that you're there. No. I was working at when I went to family, everybody go night time. Oh, back to work, film study. Oh, jump rope. Band work, whatever I could to get better. Oh, rehab on my knee with a band that I got at the house. Do the drills. So I think that's what he's talking about. That's what makes things different, especially when you're going through a tough time. Got to pay attention to the details.
Rocky says, exactly, Blaine, in the Zone TV chat, how can they expect to beat the Jags limping into that game off possibly 6 straight L's?
Yeah. And then you're talking about just really sitting less than a handful of guys. I would play Byard too. Now, Hook, who's been injured, I would probably think about not playing him because we want him fully healthy if he's pushing the envelope. It's for his knee, right? Not for concussion. I think it's for his knee. But Archery, who played well last week, and Jeff, I would probably play them, but rotational. Maybe, yeah, man, that's a tough call because I don't know the extent of their injuries. I don't know. As much as Jeffrey doesn't look like the same Jeff, he's still Jeff. He's still better than most.
Right.
So how much do I periodically, decrease his reps in a game and rotating more? And Archery, who played mostly on the outside, keep him out of the traffic and do that a little bit more than I did in the past. It's hard to say because when you get in games, coaches, their natural instinct is just to go back, default to I'm playing my best guys.
So here was the injury report from yesterday.
Okay.
Danico was limited bicep. Dylan Cole has not practiced at all this week with an ankle. Zach Cunningham has not practiced at all this week with an elbow. Bud Dupree has not practiced at all this week with a pectoral this time.
Pectoral?
Yep.
Oh.
So hips, pec. Christian Fulton, DNP Monday, did practice yesterday, groin. He continues to deal with that. Derrick Henry did not practice, then was limited hip is what they're listing him with. Amani Hooker, knee, did not practice, then limited. Then NPR, ankle, hasn't practiced this week. Ryan Tannehill, ankle, hasn't practiced. Josh Thompson, concussion, hasn't practiced this week. Jeff Simmons, ankle, has not practiced this week. And then Aaron Brewer, calf, limited both days. So that's who's on the list. So Cole, Cunningham, Dupree, NPF, Tannehill, Josh Thompson, Jeff Simmons all have not practiced this week.
So that would probably lend me to think that all of them are not playing. But it's a short week, so maybe they need as much rest as possible just to be able to play. I would say only Big Jeff on there is probably a candidate in my mind to play of the ones you just listed there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like, would you play Fulton coming off a groin injury? And you really need him next week? What if the groin is a thing, man? That thing could come and go. I don't know the extent of his, obviously, but man, that's a tricky. That's like a hamstring.
Yep.
It's like
Soft tissue.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go all in to play in this game that doesn't count. So and then who do we have backing him up? We got Maben, McCreary,
Autry.
Oh, Avery.
Avery, sorry. Yes, Avery.
Avery.
Got
and
my
that's
A
our
guys.
three. But we can't get any injuries after that. And oh, by the way, McCreary is a slot now. You can't going into next season with mold and inconsistency with the groin here. I got to start him off there. That's where he's at. Short elbows inside. That's where we put. He's physical enough. He has the footwork. He can learn all the little nuances at the end of this season because that's who they're going to put there anyway based off who they're dressing. So he's been playing there periodically throughout the season.
Yeah.
So that's the guy there. So let's just leave him there.
So they got to find him an outside corner for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And which I think is a little bit easier,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. Now, you just got to find the right guy with the right length and the 6'1" who can run and all that. But, yeah.
Isn't it funny talking about looking for outside guy? You're like, yeah, 6'1". Once upon a time, you could 6'1" outside. What?
Yeah. Right now, I'd be a slot corner, me and McCreary with our short arms. Pterodactyl guys right there, man. No. So this is a tough call because I don't really – it's probably like three or four guys that you're trying to contemplate if you're going to play them or part-time play them or not play them at all.
So,
really.
Jeff, Hooker, Fulton.
Autry would be on there and King.
Yep.
Five guys. So they would know better than me how healthy those guys are. To me, some of it also is mindset. So, and when I say that, I'm talking about the leaders of the team. So we're talking about King and we're talking about Big Jeff. I'm sure Autry's. So they always set the tone and get everybody prepped up. Well, if they're not dressing, then now I'm thinking, okay, can we get people riled up or who's speaking to the team beforehand? Mm-hmm. Who's the spokesman on each side of the ball? So Byard's going to be the guy, and, who he probably does most of the time, but you want to have that other guy on both sides, really. So that's what I'm saying. I would spot play him. And then when you say spot play him, then they're taking a roster spot.
Yep.
So it's a tough call. My DNA just tells me I'm playing guys if they've been playing. I get it, though. Maybe Big Jeff is out, Fulton is out, Hooker's out. I'm playing King. I'm sorry. I'm playing the King. Reason why? We're going to get over this fumbling. We're going to go play a game without fumbling. Yeah. I don't care about no sleeves, got sleeves on. The sleeves didn't cause the fumble, bro. Sorry. You've been wearing them sleeves your whole entire career, man. Come on. So we going to get over that thing, and we're going to get that stink out of our underarm pit right now. Yeah, so let's keep it moving.
Let's keep this moving on the other side. We have a guest in the 2 o'clock hour, Jordan Dajani, with all things NFL headlines. What do you think the Titans should do? Seriously, a lot of you are weighing in on this on Twitter, and you're weighing in on the Zone TV chat. Phone line's open, 615-737-1045. Would you sit players? Would you try to win this game? Do you think the Titans need to win this game for momentum? Would love to hear from you. We will continue this discussion on the other side as well. It's Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. So if you're the Titans, what are you going to do? What are you going to do Thursday night? Now, Lucas and Blaine and me, we put on our thinking caps here in the commercial break, and one thing that came out between the two of us is I said,
three of us.
The three of us. I said, well, yes, there's two of us in the room, but Lucas was in the room. It was three. I said, what if you're Jeff? And, Vrabel starts telling you about you ain't playing. You're like, I'm going to play Thursday, and then give me 3 days off after that. Because you do have then the long week before you play the Jaguars.
Great point.
So does that make things even more complicated?
Well, for some, it would say, I got more time off, where in my mind, I'm like, you have more time to recover.
Yes.
So we're playing all these dudes. And I know everybody's going to say, don't play the king, but I'm playing the king. I'm playing him. I told you, I do not like the stink on this fumbling. Nope, we about to attack this. I don't want to attack it in the Jaguar game, and then all of a sudden it's in your head still. Let's get over that real quick and go a game without fumbling. And dominate and be the king. So I may sporadically take you out at times to give you some rest, but no, I'm playing. I know everybody's going, that's dumb. He can get hurt. Man, guess what? You can get hurt. He can get hurt all this time. If it was meant to be, it was meant to be, man. So,
Alex says Henry needs to return to the single braid.
No, he had better luck with that.
The one hair
I called
braid.
it the cocoon. I called it the cocoon. I was like, what is that? It looked like a cocoon, man. It looked like a beehive.
He didn't fumble with the cocoon.
He
That's
did
for sure.
not.
That cocoon held on to the ball.
And players are superstitious, so I don't know, baby. He may go back to it. I don't know. He's still doing pretty good. What he said, 1,400 yards or something?
1,400, yep.
Yeah.
Number 2 in the league.
Yeah.
Behind Josh Jacobs.
He's leads him by a little over 100, right? Josh Jacobs
Yeah, right about
1,500.
100. Yeah.
Hey, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the Raiders are a trainload of dumpsters wrecking on fire right now.
You saw that news just now?
No, I didn't even. Is there new?
They've benched Derek Carr.
They benched Derek Carr.
Jarrett Stidham is starting this week.
Hey, man, that'll fix everything.
Yep.
Let's bench Derek Carr. Josh McDaniels. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Leads the
Remember,
league
I
in
told you,
interceptions.
Derek Carr, they can get out of his contract, even though he signed a new one.
They can.
After 1 year.
And
That's what I said. They set him up. I mean,
and he's got injury guarantees. So they're doing a thing like the Colts are doing with Matt Ryan, where it's like, hey, man, we got to stop playing him because if he gets hurt, we owe him millions more.
Oh,
So it's
really?
like, wait, are you okay? I'm okay. Okay, good. You benched.
All right. What's worse, that or Heineke getting benched for Carson Wentz? Like, I don't understand. Is he playing bad? I haven't watched him.
Yeah, so
But
with
I
Heineke,
know they're losing game, but
Yeah.
they were winning 7. I mean, it's not like he's playing horrible.
it's just the inconsistencies, right? Like it's a tightrope act where he'll make an incredible, back shoulder sideline throw and then just the worst interception you've
so
ever
he's
seen.
Fitzpatrick. That's what he is.
Jay Glazer reported on Saturday morning that the Commanders had a plan to put Wentz in the game if Heineke struggled.
Yeah.
That happened. Wentz came in. He didn't play terribly. Did they win the game? I can't even remember who the Commanders played
I don't think so.
on Saturday. But ultimately, they're going to go with Wentz this week. I think they won. I'll double check.
I don't think they win. I can't remember the Commanders as winners.
Yeah, you're right. They didn't. They got beat pretty bad by the 49ers.
By the way, Brock Purdy.
But by the way, the 49ers defense probably one of the best in the NFL, and the quarterback played up and down.
But Wentz played okay. He was efficient. He didn't turn the ball over, and they're going to
What's
go
his
with him this
stats
week.
compared to Heineke?
Actually, kind of similar. I mean,
Exactly.
Heineke was 13 of 18, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Okay. Wentz was 12 of 16 for 123 yards and a score.
Okay, so pretty even.
Pretty even.
So pretty even means we play the deeper pocket guy.
They have the Browns this week.
So we're gonna play Wentz since we're paying him $17 million or whatever his number is.
Yeah, that reeks, as you and I were discussing before the show, that reeks of a call from upstairs.
Like, hey, he's just as good. I mean, they're about the same. Hey, man, he's sitting on the sideline making 17, and this guy makes $1.7 million. He must play the guy at $17 million. That's coming out of my pocket, not your pocket. Guess what? If you don't want it to come out your pocket, then you want to be on the sideline, then you play the guy we're paying all this money to. Yeah, that's the owner's conversation.
I like that, Blake. The
I
Blaine
wonder what
owner's
voice
voice.
that is.
I hope Dan
I wonder
Snyder
what
sounds
that
like
voice
that.
I do too. And all this.
And by the way, the
team.
organization is for sale. We're trying to help get it higher. I'm trying to put a lot of money in my pocket.
Get more and more like Dr. Evil. $7 billion.
Right. That's the voice, right? Anybody can do the voice, right? Yeah, so that's crazy, man. That's funny.
Boy, this league.
Ron Rivera definitely knows you can't do that. I mean, he's a former player. He's been in this league a long time. See, that's when you know you become, hey, I got to, like, do you tell the players I got to do, or the two quarterbacks that this is where it's coming from, that, knowing they're not going to keep it quiet? That's not going to happen. Yeah, it's tough sledding there, man. That's what you got paid all those millions of dollars as a head coach, man. Got to navigate.
People are already putting Derek Carr on the Colts next year.
Oh.
I see he hate V and Austin Nelson, who's at one-time zone intern, and they're having a discussion about this, about what only makes sense, and it's a picture of Derek Carr in a Colts uniform.
Oh, that'd be like doomsday.
Why not? Why not?
They don't
Carr
even know who
Levis.
the head coach is going to be. Man, I don't know about that one.
Who would Titans fans rather see, Derek Carr or Will Levis as the Colts' next starting quarterback?
I'd much rather see old mayonnaise in his coffee.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I think I'm with you.
I think we should be having a conversation. Would we rather see Derek Carr or Tannehill?
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah,
there you go. Let's synchronize our watches. It was mentioned 127 on December 28th. There you go.
I'm just saying. You just never know, man, how this thing works, man. Because, like, when we compare them, Tannehill and Derek Carr, what would you say? They're about the same as far as how good they are in the NFL. I mean, like, one day you may say Derek Carr's a little better. The next day you may say Tannehill's better. I don't know if anybody's going to be better in this offense with this old line.
Well, I got stuff that's going to discourage you so bad on this offense. I'm just saving it. That's a tease for later in the show. I've been saving that gut punch for later.
Well, here's what a lot of people are saying, and I have to get this out because I think that Lucas would love this. And that is, we're talking about resting players. I think everybody's asking, are we going to rest Todd Downey for this game? Because that should be the question, according to the fan base. Should we rest Todd freaking Downey?
Maybe rest him.
He might have been already rested, by the way, according to his play calls, according to the fans.
Been resting since he was being arrested, it seems like, because it's not been the same since Green Bay. Sorry. But
not too soon. It's not too soon.
Greg in the Borough wants to talk about the Titans and the Cowboys game. Greg, welcome into the Blaine and Mickey show via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. What's going on?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you letting me in. It's my first-time caller. I'm just excited about I go down every 8 years when the Cowboys come to town. I believe telling your fans that they're resting your players, it might be Texas Stadium tomorrow night. But do you believe the King will get a TD tomorrow night? I can put that on my parlay.
You'll have Mickey's Moneymakers. I usually do those on game day, but Derrick Henry's been a pretty safe bet. The only thing is we keep discussing and appreciate the phone call is what are the Titans actually, would they go to him and ask him to rest? And as Lucas pointed out earlier, this wasn't on the air again, us talking, there's precedent for this. They needed to win the last game of the year against the Texans, and they rested Derrick Henry against the Saints the week before.
You said in 2019 it was?
Yes. Then he went like 30, 2 carries for 200 and something yards.
Oh, I'm sure it'd be huge for him.
Then they went on that run. That's 2019 when everything got rolling for him.
No, why were they resting him? Do we recall?
I don't remember if he was. I don't think he was nicked up. Maybe he was a little bit nicked up at that time.
So you're saying for the parlay, you don't even know if he's going to play to the callers.
Right. I can't Mickey's money make this guy his college fund for his kids if I don't know if Derrick Henry's going to play or not. But I'm like you. I mean, I don't think he would play. I mean, I think he would.
And I'm probably totally off base, but I'm playing him. And I know that's probably not the smarter decision because you want your best player and all your best players to be available for the Jaguars game. But there's a couple things that really perturb me as a coach is his fumbling issues and our offense production with Malik Willis behind that offensive line. I want to get this stink of losing and this taste out of my mouth, and it doesn't wait till a Jacksonville game. So I would probably that's probably why I would get fired. I'd play guys, but I would sporadically rotate them in and out. Certain guys, and we just named the 5 of them. And it's only 5 guys. They're too banged up and hurt. So, yeah. I'm sure rest would help Derrick Henry for sure, but you get an extended 3-day rest because his game is so early. So I think he can, I think that's fine.
Rhett Ryan said tied hammy in 2019.
Oh, tight.
Set him for his hammy.
Yeah, so that means we set you because we wanted to sit you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But think about who you play without Henry. That's the Willis Hassan Haskins show.
Yeah.
So they're walking a tightrope now of, Kevin Byard said we have to win. We have to win this game.
Yeah. That's how most players are going to think.
Yeah.
That's how I'm thinking. That's why I'm saying they would play.
You bench Derrick Henry, it's Malik Willis, and it's Hassan Haskins.
Well,
that's your quarterback and running back.
And Chestnut.
Yeah.
Yep. Who will be knocking at your door?
An
open fire.
There's another guy who's a running back that's on the team that played like 3 special teams plays last week. There's, I'll have to look it up. There's another.
What's his number? Do you even know his number?
No, because I looked at the snap
Well,
counts.
they picked up so many guys.
I looked at the snap counts and I said to myself, who is this guy?
Now, one thing you can say is you'll get to look at the future potentially of the starting running back and quarterback, potentially, if they can prove that they are that. And this game is a game where I think also we get to see all bets are off on the offense. So when I say that is, I don't want any holdback on any plays with Malik Willis at quarterback. I want to see what if this game doesn't mean as much as you think, just because you can lose it. Let's see if he can make some mistakes or not make any mistakes and let it fly and let it rip. Let him run around. Let him be Malik Willis, and let's see what happens. So I'm thinking then that brings excitement to the players and to the type of style that you're gonna be calling the game in, offensively and defensively. If it doesn't matter, we have nothing to lose then. Let's go play ball.
Jonathan Ward is a running back on the Titans practice squad. He played in the game. Jonathan Ward.
Would that be
guy?
Like number 84 this year?
No, that's my
talking
number.
about players.
I'm
No,
84.
players.
No,
I'm sorry. No, my number is 84.
I'm talking about
number 84.
number of players that have suited up
No, I can tell you
and
exactly.
have gotten on the field.
No, Lucas, I've been saving this. Jonathan Ward was the 82nd Titan who's played on the team this year.
Just
Jimmy
two off.
Wyatt.
Good guess, though.
That's a really good guess, which, by the way, I have discouraging numbers on that. Do you want those right now? Since
Sure,
we
why not?
cracked
Since
this
it's right
net
here.
open. Jonathan Ward, Central Michigan. He's 25. He has 3 years of experience. He's got like 9 rushes in 3 years for whoever he used to play for.
Fighting Jim McElwain's.
The fighting Jim McElwain's. Did you ever hear anybody call him Butter Teeth?
Central Michigan are they Chippewas?
No, I never heard that nickname, but it I think it's apt.
Butter Teeth. Sorry if he's listening. I'm not.
apt.
I didn't make it up. Okay. here we
Meanwhile,
go.
if you're interested, Duke's up 7-0 over Central Florida.
No,
That's where
UCF
everybody's
just
interested.
scored.
They driving.
Yeah, I don't know. They have not given the signal yet.
The fighting Gus Malzahn's. They're playing this game in
Another
Annapolis
former Arkansas State head coach.
and former Auburn. We do both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're playing this at Navy's Stadium. There's a bowl game in Annapolis, Maryland at Navy's Stadium, which I have been to. It is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like retired players' names on the facade of the stadium, it has all the battles that they fought in.
Oh, that's cool.
It gives me literally I have goosebumps thinking about that.
That's hard.
Oh my gosh, I have more goosebumps. Blaine, you saying it like that? That's their stadium is so cool to go there. So God bless all of our military, and that's an amazing stadium. Here you go. This is from the Titans stat dump this week. I came with all this stuff. It's 2 hours. I just got to.
Okay.
I can't waste anything. I got to throw it all out there. It goes by fast. Titans lead the league in players used over 2 seasons. Through 15 games, they've used 82 players in at least one game. That's the most in the NFL and 13 more than the NFL average for this season.
Is that the stat dump you were telling me?
Well, this is part of it. There's more.
Oh. Okay, the reason why I say that is because I don't give a crap.
Combined,
Yeah, I don't have no sympathy. Everybody got injured. I don't care if you're leading the league, and all I care about is winning.
No, I'm
That's
saying
it.
They got to make some
So
changes.
what? I don't care you got injured. I don't win. Want me cry for you? So what? Sorry.
No, I'm saying they got to make some changes on.
No, I know, but I'm just saying the stat. We're leading the league the last 2 years. No, I don't want to care. I don't
wouldn't-
care.
No, I wouldn't dump this stat. They're up to 133 players who have appeared in at least one game. They lead the NFL. The NFL average is 107 over the last 2 years for all the teams. 133 for the Titans. The Bears are next behind them over these 2 years, 128. Then there's a bunch of teams at 119, 118, 116, 112. That's something they got to look at. And I know Mike Vrabel got asked about it. And he goes, well, we're looking at, how we do things in training camp. You got to look at everything and the people that are involved at this point.
No question.
I mean, you got to look at Todd Downing. You got to look at strength, conditioning, all that, every bit of it, training staff, every bit of it. You got to tear it all down and rebuild it, whatever it's going to look like. And the other thing is this, and this hasn't been talked about.
Or make some adjustments to it.
Make adjustments.
But got to remember now, this is only a head coach. Those are not his expertise.
Yeah.
See, so now you tear it down. Now you may be building back up with something worse.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Here's the other thing they got to look at. Special teams. And I know Stonehouse is kicking the crap out of the ball, and I get that. He's got a chance to break a record that's 82 years old for like gross punting average. Sammy Baugh holds a record from 1940. It's like the third, that's in the stat dump too. It's like the third or fourth oldest NFL record that exists.
So what are you talking about on special team they need to fix?
All their kick coverage, punt coverage. Stonehouse is punting the ball. They're still giving up 10, 11, 12 yards per return.
You got to get more hang time.
They miss field goals. How many times after a game do you go, boy, the Titans special teams pulled it out today?
Crickets.
Yeah. Even just to get a plus level of play from them on a weekly basis, where it's not a minus.
To me, that's an easy fix. Health. Yeah. The guys who were on special teams are now starters. The guys who are new on special teams haven't been on the team. See, so to me, that'll correct itself. It's not, and maybe you want to work on Stonehouse getting real picky on hang time, or so guys can get down there with his rocket launching leg that's out kicking the coverage. But yeah, I think the special teams will take care of itself if we could stay healthy. You got Dylan Cole now who's now doing double duty, or he's part-timing, or on special team while he's the starter.
Now he's hurt.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens, though, because you're spreading them too thin.
Mm-hmm. Well, you watch other games, you get a huge return. A team does when they need it. The Titans don't really get big returns. They're not explosive in the return game. I mean, I think they cover kickoffs well, and Stonehouse punts it a long way. That's like the two things they do well.
Right.
Well, so I would love to see
those are
more.
valid points, yeah.
I would love to see more from them.
But they don't have anybody dynamic, explosive on offense, so that leads into the punt return game. And kickoff returns, you may get one or two maybe a game because they're kicking them, in back of the end zone.
Cheeseburger wants to weigh in on the Cowboys and Titans. Cheeseburger, thank you for calling, man. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to y'all, man. I hope y'all had a good Christmas. I hope y'all have a good New Year's, too.
Yes,
I just want to say about the game for tomorrow, I'm going to be there with my mom. I think the players, they should play because, we got a few days off after tomorrow night to get ready for Jacksonville. I think Malik should play, too. I think Malik should start. That way, let him develop more as a backup. Hey, and also, I got a feeling next week, Week 18 in Jacksonville, Derrick Henry is going to take it over in Jacksonville. You better watch out because we are coming for y'all, baby. Titans about to take the AFC South next week. Let's go. Tighten up. It's a Blaine and Mickey show all day, every day. Yeah. Let's go. Titans, baby. Tighten up. Tighten up. Tighten up, baby. Let's go. Let's go, baby.
You running down on those special teams, Cheeseburger, man. Come on, man.
Boy, Lucas just had him a pulsating electronic beat underneath the phone call. That was right on time, Lucas.
I've started being prepared for that whenever Cheeseburger calls in.
you have a Cheeseburger button.
Oh, wow. Cheeseburger got his own button?
All right. Just cool. How futile has the Titans offense been? I teased these numbers. Get a box of tissues.
That's what you got me pissed off for greatness right there.
Get a box of tissues and come on back. You will weep when you hear these numbers. Blaney, Mickey 1045, the Zone. Alex says in the Zone TV chat, I like how Mickey's FanDuel ad. He said Derek's going to score, but to the caller, he said the polar opposite. No, I didn't. I said, I think he scores if he plays, but who knows if he plays? You got to pay attention, Alex. Things move pretty fast around here. You guys ready for this? Do we have any sad music?
Sad?
Yeah, this is sad.
Nope. Since
Dramatic
yesterday was your
music?
birthday, you got to pick one of your songs that you think is fitting for this sad music, from whether it's Motown, Scorpion, Def Leppard, or Motley Crue, or Kiss. One of their songs have to be sad. Can you be that quick on the trigger there, Lucas? He's rapidly having the interns look it all up now.
Yeah, it's an army of people in there pressing buttons.
Yeah.
Lucas hates to
Appreciate
be put
you.
on the spot.
Lucas
like
and
this.
crew, that's what we're going to call
All
it.
right, I'm just going to start reading it. I'll just trust Lucas.
He'll be doing the backdrop.
So the Titans against the Texans and against a team who had won one game this season. They had 272 total yards. They went 4 of 12 on third down. They had 3 turnovers.
Yeah, Mickey doesn't even know.
Oh, man, this is
Oh,
like
he didn't
one of
know what it
those-
was at first.
It's one of those ads with the dogs and cats, man. I'm going to get in my feelings over here thinking about
Don't
that.
cry.
I'm not going to. I'm going to hold it together. Malik Willis, 14 for 23, 99 yards, 2 INTs. He got sacked 4 times.
Don't cry.
Titans ran Derrick Henry only 23 times in the game for some inexplicable reason.
Yeah.
Traylon Burks and Chig combined for 4 targets. So then I started thinking, boy, that's bad. But isn't it always bad? Then I started looking, and it is. And I know that it's bad because that passes the eyeball test. But sometimes stats don't tell the whole story, but they can really add on to the eyeball test when they confirm everything the eyeballs see. The Titans' offense is averaging 15.2 points per game over the last 5 games. The Broncos just fired their coach because they were only averaging 15.5. This Titans team gets to 15.5 points, they might have beaten the Texans on Sunday. But this offense has gone into the arms of the Angels. And let me keep this going. Titans, I've tried to compile stats from an AP tweet a couple of weeks ago, but I think based on the AP, if I'm updating it correctly, they've had 53 3-and-outs this year. And Teresa Walker, if you're listening and that's untrue, you can let me know. I did find this, though, from another AP reporter. They have the highest percentage of 3-and-outs in the league, 31.4%. A third of the time when the offense takes the field, it goes 3-and-out. Meanwhile, Kevin Byard doesn't even have a chance to finish his Gatorade before he has to run back out there with Big Jeff on one leg and try to build another dam to stop what the other team is doing. And no, I didn't curse.
That was a dam.
I'm talking about the dam like a beaver would build. They've started the third quarter 11 times this season, and they've only played 15 games. 11 times they've gone 3-and-out to start the third quarter, which is immediately just the worst feeling in the world. Once again, Kevin Byard, not even done stretching, got to jump back out there and get the defense going. KB.
Or Big Jeff.
Or Large Jeff. They've been shut out 7 times in the third quarter and 8 times in the fourth quarter this year. 7 times in the third quarter and 8 in the fourth quarter. They've been completely shut out. Their second half scoring, 7, 0, 0, 0, 7, 6, 10, 3, 10, 13, 6, 0, 8, 7, and 7. That's how many points they've scored in the second half of each game this year. Do you know what that average is out for? Per game. Second half points.
In the second half point?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess 7.
5.6. They don't average 2 field goals worth of points in the second half.
All season.
And in the fourth quarter, just to finish this punch in the nether regions for you guys, right in the abductus longus, they averaged 2.5 points in the fourth quarter. By a mile, the worst in the NFL. In the fourth quarter, when they're losing these games, when they desperately need 1 field goal to pass this number, they averaged 2.5 points per game in the fourth quarter. The Bears, they've lost 8 in a row, is that right? The Bears averaged 4.1 points per game in the fourth quarter. That's your Tennessee Titans. Arms of the Angel, offense, stats.
Dump.
For 2022. And you will find no comfort here.
Oh my! Wait up! All right, man. That was not playing. That was a heck of a job there by you and Lucas, man. That was pretty
Lucas
awesome.
dialing up Sarah McLaughlin, man.
That was pretty.
I have a
good.
question. What's
I have a question.
That led to a question.
Is it okay to cry now?
what's the Titans season high in points in a game?
Ooh,
24?
27 against ye old Green Bay Packers.
27.
27, but only one time. Other than that, it's 24, I think, once or twice at the most, and then at 22.
I'd be curious to see the last time, or if ever, the Titans have gone an entire season without breaking the 28-point mark in a game.
all you gotta do is just ask Siri.
I don't know if Siri even knows that, or Sarah McLaughlin. Let's take one phone call. Trey in Nashville has been
Man,
on
that
hold.
was
Trey, thanks
awesome.
for calling Blaine and Mickey. What's going on, man?
Hey guys,
Hey.
how you doing?
Hey,
Good,
we
good,
do.
Dude, it's so somber in Titans Nation. I don't know what to say about those numbers you just said. I know I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of crying, and I think that our season is shot. And Blaine, I know you. We know what I'm saying. We talked yesterday about how do you feel, and man, I don't really. How does this make Titans fans feel that they putting this mediocre performance out on the field? Like, pep me up, Blaine and Mickey, and y'all have a good day.
Help me up, he says.
I don't know, man. I think this is where the fans got to help the players out right here, man. Come and just yell all your frustrations out at the game in support of your team, man. That's really, maybe you could be that extra edge to get them over the snide. And oh, by the way, as horribly as they played last week offensively, imagine there's a couple plays in a game that they could have still won by Vrabel's way of winning football game. Let's say if Cunningham got the interception that cost him 7. Oh, by the way, didn't Randy Bullock miss a field goal too?
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Goes back to my special teams.
And then naturally, if you don't throw the pick there, not at the end, but the Hail Mary, but the other pick, it led to points as well. So, yeah. They still would have won a close one, but they would have won it. But that's what I'm getting at. How often did Vrabel think that they're going to play almost like perfect football? That's just almost impossible. It's humans involved. There will be human error. Now, you don't want to do it every game, but at some point it was going to happen, especially when you got a young quarterback. You just knew it was going to happen.
Which, let's get into this on the other side, because they do live in constant terror. They play games so close. They want to run the football. They don't want to turn it over. I want to get into something you've talked about a whole lot that goes to that, and their philosophy, and just turning Malik Willis loose for a game and just saying, hey, man, just run the offense. We're just going to call it like we'd call it if Tannehill was there. Just turn it loose. Turn it loose. Let's talk about turning it loose next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy Wednesday to you. Halfway through the week between Christmas and New Year's. Hopefully you're having a great holiday season, whatever and however you celebrate. I hope you're still celebrating. We're celebrating by hanging out with you guys today. And so we ended the first hour of the program with a bunch of stats that just point out the absolute futility of the Titans offense this year, especially in the second half, where they are averaging they've scored 84 points in the second half of all the games combined this year. 84 points the entire season in the second half of games. We've seen them lose in the second half of games recently. You think, what could a field goal or two have done? Well, it could have won them a lot of games. They averaged 2.5 points in the fourth quarter. The Bears are the next closest team. They averaged 4.1 points per game.
They got them by 2 points.
So almost 2 full points. So Lucas Panzica asked us the question. We didn't have the answer, but he's got it now. What's the most points they've scored in a game this year? It's only 27 points, and that was against Green Bay. And since the Green Bay game, they averaged 15.2 points per game. They scored 27 points against Green Bay. That's the season high. Young Lucas Panzica posed the question to us and to all of Titans and 104.5 The Zone and Blaine and Mickey Nation. So when was the last time this squad didn't hit 28 in a season?
Or more.
In
franchise history.
You've been holding this number from us, but when we ask you, what is it? And you said, it's been a long time.
Would you care to give me a guess on the last time the Titans organization, this franchise, went an entire regular season without scoring 28 or more points in a single game? Not preseason. Preseason notwithstanding.
Mickey's the guru here. I'll let you guess first.
The last year that they were completely terrible on offense, they actually averaged less than they're averaging this year was the 2-14 year under Wisenhunt. That was 2014. So any bad thing that happens, I'm just going to guess 2014.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to go during my younger years. I'm going to say 1977. I have no idea versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know.
Blaine, you are so close.
Oh, I have no idea.
1984. 1984.
I was thinking before the run and shoot. That's what I was thinking in my mind because they were putting up points and nobody could figure it out. I don't know if that's the case or not. And then I was saying before Warren Moon.
1984, the Oilers started on a 10-game losing streak. They finished with 3 wins. Their season-high point total in 1984 was 21 points, which they did – 23 points. 23 points in a win against the Steelers in the third-to-last game of the year. The 2014 Titans, Mickey, had a season high of 28 points that they scored in a 28-29 loss to the Browns. And Johnny Manziel, if I'm not mistaken, was the Browns quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
He
was
won
in Cleveland.
He won 2 games, and one of them was against the
Who was
Titans.
the receiver that
I think Byard had
Travis
3
Benjamin.
interceptions.
Travis
Benjamin.
that was the game. That was the overtime game against Deshaun Kaiser where there were no touchdowns. It was like 9-6 or something.
Be wise or call Kaiser.
This 29-28 Browns win, I think Travis Benjamin was the receiver that just
he's fast.
was dunking all over the Titans. So, yes, that 2014 Titans team was terrible. They won 2 games, but they did score 28 points once. Other than that, they did not score more than 26 points in a game, other than that 29-28 loss. So, the last time the Titans franchise went an entire season without scoring 28 or more points was 1984, the Houston Oilers, who finished 3-13.
And that was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I guess the team I got to oh, wow.
That was Warren Moon's rookie year in the NFL.
His rookie year.
He was 28 years old because he'd gone to Canada and just thrown for 8 bazillion yards.
Had a couple of Grey Cup championships.
Hugh Campbell was the head coach.
Hugh Campbell. Wow.
His backup, and here's one for all you kids out there, was
in 1984?
Oliver Luck, Andrew's dad, was Warren's backup. Warren went 3-13 in 16 games as a starter. Here's what's nuts, and you kind of want to think about history in Warren Moon. They went 3-14, then they went 4-10, then they went 5-10, then 7-5, 7-4, 9-7, 8-7, 11-5, 6-4, 10-4, and then he was gone. 10-4, the Hitman's rookie year.
No, that's not correct.
He was 10-4 as the starter.
Oh, right, yeah, because we were 13-3.
He was 10-4 as the starter.
Yeah, he got
37 years old.
He got benched
for Cody Carlson, right?
Yeah. That was, whoa, what's going on here?
Cody Carlson went 2-0 as the starter that year, Blaine.
Cody
Carlson. Bucky Richardson was the other quarterback.
He looked like crap.
Bucky Richardson.
Bucky Richardson was pretty good, man. He from A&M.
I remember him, 6'1", 228. I remember he liked to run into people.
He could throw. He was, just probably a good solid backup. But, yeah. Cody Carlson, I can't believe he finished those games. I can't recall that he finished those games. Maybe it was different games. That he got knocked out of the games.
Says Warren went 10-4 and Cody went 2-0 that year.
So why didn't they keep Cody out there? Because they did bench Warren Moon for Cody Carlson.
Man, I don't know. You had a front row seat in the disaster.
I was on the front row too, watching the whole entire game. Like I was in front of my TV. Sideline.
At the time, because
I wasn't playing. I was just a special team player.
People didn't used to play like till they were 38, 39. Warren Moon was 37 and still out there slinging it.
Oh no, he had a fountain of youth. There was no doubt about it. No, he didn't look like a 37. You thought he was 27.
That dude was special.
Yeah, when he announced when we were doing, the event to gear up, for the COVID stuff, he announced there that he went through a history lesson there with his family, that he was 66. And I just looked at him, and I'm in the front row again, had front row seat, like, dang, I didn't realize he was up there. I forgot he went to the CFL first. It kind of hit me again. It hit me like, whoa, man. Hey, man, you got me by 20.
Okay, I have to bring this up because I have all these things every day that I don't get to. But you brought up his age.
Yeah, am I right? Right? I thought he said that, 66.
I'll look and see.
Yeah.
This is a whole different story. And then Houston from Portland is calling about not the Oilers, but the Titans. We have a call from Houston, the person, not the place. Hold on, Houston.
Oh, okay.
This story from Sports Illustrated. Terrell Owens is begging Jerry Jones for a tryout for the Cowboys. He is 49 years old. Cowboys ex Terrell Owens, a Pro Football Hall of Famer, wants to play in the NFL again and become the oldest player to do so. He ran a 4.5 recently, says his agent, a 4.5 40, and looks exactly, I have to find this. He's ready to contribute, play any small role. He's in outstanding shape. He looks no different than he did years ago. This is his agent. I watched him running routes full speed with Deshaun Jackson, and he looked great. He didn't drop a pass. They were working out together, and Deshaun Jackson got signed. He most recently ran a 4.5 40-yard dash, which was his warm-up. He's a legend, says his agent. The Cowboys, I don't think, have had any comment on this.
Mm. Well, the only comment I have is I think the Steelers in 1984 had Louis Lips and Mark Malone, Magnum P.I. at quarterback. Now, to Terrell, he is a freak of nature now.
49. He would beat George Blanta's record, who was 48, playing for the Raiders, and he was like a kicker and the backup quarterback. And a heavy smoker. Read a book about him recently, and he had quit smoking and started to play poorly. So he started smoking again. Oh, it's a different time.
You know what? I would bring him in for a tryout. I would like to see what he's got.
He hasn't played since 2010.
I know.
He went to camp with somebody in 2012. He played in like this fan-controlled football team league.
I would watch film now. I would want to see what he looked like there.
Yeah, 49.
Yeah, I saw him in some videos of being guarded by like some elite level cornerbacks in college.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of D'ing him up.
Oh.
Now, they were elite.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to say that. That means they were NFL caliber guys. But he did beat them, too, at the same time.
49.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. It's just a temporary deal. It's only a, 3-week contract, really.
Oh,
I'd bring him in for a try. Now, I ain't say I'm bringing him into the team, but I'm gonna see what you got.
I would absolutely love to see it, just for the nature of watching it happen.
Have the circus.
Yes, for the circus.
Now, the receiver is tough to come in and have an immediate impact unless you have some relationship with knowing the offense or knowing the quarterback and all those things. So, but I wouldn't put anything past T.O. when I'm talking about him as an athlete and being a freak off the charts. Yeah, I wouldn't put anything past him. Now, the other part is I got to make sure he's copacetic on, his cancerous ways. As he's gotten older now, now you're not the guy, and now you got to settle into a role. And that's why that statement was on there was, he'll play whatever role.
Big or small role.
Because they know his history there. And now he's not going to be the number 1, 2, or 3 guy. Yeah.
Let's take this call from Houston. He's been kindly waiting. Hello, Houston from Portland.
Hey, how are y'all?
Hey, how
We're
are
doing
y'all? We're good.
fantabulous.
Good. I hope y'all had a Merry Christmas. Guys, I'm gonna be straight with you. When it comes to Titans' offense and lack of scoring, and Malik Willis, this will be his 4th consecutive start. I don't think he's done bad for the offensive line that we had. I'm honestly surprised Derek's put up the numbers he has with this offensive line. So, I mean, when you look at it, I don't think it's as much Todd Downing as it is. Look at what he's had to put up with his offensive line. I mean, his quarterback doesn't have time to throw. His running back doesn't have time to get into the secondary without getting nailed. I mean, it's honestly pathetic. I mean, that's what I think this offseason needs to be.
Right. Real quickly, though, a question to you is, and I completely agree with your statement there, is how much do you think the coordinator and the players, if you were dividing them into percentages, what percentage do you think who's at fault of why the offense is not working?
I'm not disagreeing with that statement at all. I do believe it is offensive coordinator because, I mean, he's calling the plays and everything like that.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think it's also a shared blame because sometimes it's receivers dropping passes that shouldn't be dropped. I mean, the Kansas City game a couple weeks back, I mean, Malik Willis was putting them right in the arms and they was dropping them left and right. Now, that game we should have won. We got robbed by some referee officials due to that play in the end zone, Travis Kelce for that 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
I think he threw the guy's helmet off and then was screaming inappropriate words at halftime. I mean, you know, if any other player were to do that, you know, there'd be a flag and there'd be some penalties called. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Houston, thank you for the phone call. Yeah, and that's going to be the argument. If you're Mike Vrabel and you truly want to keep him, you'll say, well, he doesn't have anybody to throw to, doesn't have anybody to block.
Right. Yeah.
So
and that's what I'm getting at. And
can't
that's
evaluate him.
And that's what I've been saying, even with Malik Willis out there. It's hard to kind of evaluate him. I think they tried to run the offense, and he's not as experienced. And so he was going to make more mistakes than Tannehill, but I think they ran the same plays. 23 passes. Maybe they might have thrown a handful of more, maybe.
I think it's 23.
Yeah, 23. That's what I'm saying. They may have thrown 28.
Typically,
Tannehill played. They were running the same offense and thinking he could run it that way with inexperience, and he was bound to make a mistake. So that's the really, the question to be answered. How much is it the players versus the play calling, and how much then does that impact the play calling because you don't have the players? So you're trying to figure out what you can call that they can be successful at.
Well, and you've said this a couple times on Sunday. Just open up everything for Malik.
I'm gonna let it go.
If you throw an interception, you throw an interception.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm also make sure that you know that you got a guy called Twice Daily over there.
Yeah.
You may be running for your life because I'm about to call some plays, and sometimes he's not gonna have no help. Sorry, Charlie. You better have your back. So I'm gonna call it and just let's go. You be you and let's ride. As Russell Wilson would say, because Russell Wilson about to ride out of town. I don't know what they're going to do with that cat.
They can't do anything for 2 years with that contract.
Let's ride.
Let's ride to break. Jordan Dajani, we'll get into all this stuff with him next. Let's do that. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone, joined now by our buddy Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. JD, did you have a good Christmas, man? Did Santa Claus find you again this year? How you doing?
My friends, what's going on? Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy birthday to you, Mickey, as well. Sorry I missed it. Yeah, I had a great Christmas. Thanks for checking. How about you guys?
Fantastic. Yeah, no coal in the stocking at our place. I was excited.
Love it, love it.
You think the Titans offense got coal in their stocking?
Yeah, they'd be lucky to get Cole at this point. It's been pretty tough to watch over the past few weeks. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's interesting. Malik Willis, 64% of the Titans' plays are runs in his starts. That's the highest in any quarterback start since 2000. Tim Tebow's second at 58%. The Titans are bottom 3 in passing yards and passing yards allowed this season. It's been a mess. And, I mean, you can't put all the blame on one person or one coach. You can't blame Todd Downing. You can't blame Malik Willis. We have a subpar wide receiving core and offensive line that's not executing at all over the past few weeks. It's been tough to watch. And all of a sudden, for Christmas, for New Year's, here come the Dallas Cowboys to Music City.
Well, where do you fall on resting players for the Dallas game to try to put all your chips up, in the middle of the table against Jacksonville?
Yeah, it's a great question because you're never going to find an NFL coach that's going to step up to the podium and say, yep, you guys are right. This game is worthless. Let's play it like a preseason game. Fans don't show up. It's going to be the opposite of that. Everyone's going to preach that every game is important in the NFL. You could make the argument that, pulling off an amazing upset win would not win the division, of course, but it would definitely create some momentum for a team that desperately needs it at this point in the season. The way I look at it, I think that the starters are going to play. I think it's going to be interesting to keep tabs on the snap count for some of these starters, just like Derrick Henry and some of the important guys on defense, because maybe those are some players that get pulled in the second half in case things get out of hand.
Jordan Dajani, our guest, CBS Sports, talking NFL, same time every week.
Well, JD, man, I saw you tweeted during the Texans game about the Rex Burkhead fumble recovery in the end zone there when Mills, the quarterback for the Texans, fumbled into the end zone. Did you get any clarity on the rule there? Because he stepped out of bounds and then came back inbounds to recover that play. Was that a legal play in your eyes?
Yeah, it was, and I thought about deleting that tweet because I was more talking about the fumble itself.
Right, did he intentionally fumble forward?
Right, exactly. I didn't know if it was kind of a weird shovel pass to a guy that was open, that was obviously beyond the line of scrimmage, or if it was a true fumble. And then, of course, as you brought up, there was the subject about Rex Burkhead reestablishing himself in bounds. But after a couple of looks, it was very clear that it was a touchdown. But that was a weird play, so I kept the tweet up because I thought it was interesting.
Well, great dialogue, too, at the same time. It makes people, kind of start looking into all the rules and what the actual rules are because nobody even mentioned him moving. You can't intentionally throw the ball forward. I think he fumbled it forward, but there could be, pause for discussion. I know you're a big gambler to a certain extent. Odds on who wins, the Titans or the Jags for the AFC South?
Yeah, right now, if you're looking at sports line projections, if you're looking at 538, whatever it may be, everything is leaning heavily in the Jaguars' favor, and you can understand why. Yeah, they're a team that's dealing with some notable injuries on both sides of the ball. You talk about a banged-up Travon Walker. You're talking about a left tackle that's lost for the season. But those injuries pale in comparison to what the Titans have been dealing with. And, it's almost like deja vu from last year. Minus the fact that the Titans just haven't had the wherewithal to overcome said level of adversity. So the Jaguars are going to be favored. I'm not exactly sure what the point spread's going to be right now. They're obviously going to be in Jacksonville. Odds makers and fans alike around the NFL have been watching this Titans team operate without Ryan Tannehill in the starting lineup, with backups all over the field on the offensive line and the defensive side of the ball. I think the Titans right now have a 27% chance to make the playoffs. And guess what? Just 3 weeks ago, it was 96% chance that the Titans would make the postseason. So definitely a bit of a fall from grace for this team from Tennessee.
Well, we all saw Hackett there at the Broncos was let go there. Who's at the forefront of, the coaching spot there to be the head coach? And then who else is on the docket to get, let's say, canned as the head coach in the National Football League?
Yeah, poor Nathaniel Hackett. Hackett couldn't hack it in Denver. And, after watching that game on Christmas Day, the Broncos literally did not have a choice. I mean, you made a makeshift Rams team look like the greatest show on turf. Your teammates were fighting each other on the sideline. Randy Gregory threw an open hand slap after the final whistle. It was just a mess all around. They had no choice but to part ways with what was a huge mistake. I mean, one of the bigger mistakes we've seen in the NFL over the past few decades. Now, in terms of the Broncos search moving forward, I think it's going to be very interesting because I don't know the level of faith that the front office or, let's say, ownership has in general manager George Payton. This new ownership group is going to be involved with when it comes to picking this new head coach, which kind of raises some eyebrows since, ownership has been known to kind of overstep their boundaries in different cases. You don't want to turn into the Washington Commanders or whatever Jim Irsay is doing in Indy. But in terms of potential candidates that we should keep an eye on, this comes from CBS Sports NFL insider Josina Anderson. We're looking at Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, passing game coordinator Darryl Bevell of the Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy is going to be in the mix. And then I think the big fish that everyone wants to talk about is Sean Payton, the guy who, of course, Super Bowl winning head coach with the Saints. He may be interested in rejoining the coaching ranks this offseason, but it gets complicated because I'm sure he's a guy that wants to pick and choose his situation, and the Denver Broncos probably wouldn't be the top of anyone's list at this point with Russell Wilson. But then there's also the trade compensation because he still has his rights with New Orleans. So a couple of hurdles that different teams that are interested are going to have to overcome. But I would venture to guess that Sean Payton is definitely at least one of the top two guys on Denver's big board.
Well, speaking of hurdles, Brock Purdy continues to play well as a starting quarterback. What do you think it'll do when Jimmy G comes back?
Yeah, I mean, if he comes back in the playoffs, I still have a hard time believing that they bench Brock Purdy for Jimmy Garoppolo because if Jimmy Garoppolo returns for the playoffs, it's not in the first round. It's going to be in the next divisional round or conference championship, whatever it may be. And if the 49ers make it that far, there's no way they're going to bench their quarterback. And I got to say this, man. I know that the Purdy story was fun for the first week or two, but this guy's kind of playing legitimate ball. I watched that game against the Commanders this past week. In the last 4 games Brock Purdy's played in, San Francisco has scored at least 33 points in 3 of them. So the offensive efficiency has not dipped with Mr. Irrelevant under center. And as we all know, the 49ers have the number 1 defense in the NFL as well. So I've seen some power rankings from national outlets have the 49ers as the number 1 team in the NFL. I probably would not have them at number 1, but they are undoubtedly a legitimate Lombardi contender.
Well, give us your top 3 power rankings NFL. Yeah, what you got?
I'm glad you asked. The top 3 is kind of tough to figure out because the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Eagles, right? Those are the top 3 guys that I have an eye on. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the Buffalo Bills at number 1, and they have a statement opportunity here on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe that's Monday night, so that's going to be a game everyone's excited for. At number 2, I'll put the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is playing great ball. He is the odds-on favorite to win the MVP this season. The Philadelphia Eagles probably at number 3 with Jalen Hurts. He may return this week. He may not. Either way, that offense didn't really miss a beat with Gardner Minshew under center against the Dallas Cowboys on the road. Number 4, I really do like the Cincinnati Bengals. They are the reigning AFC champions for a reason. Love Joe Burrow. And at number 5, I'll go ahead and throw the San Francisco 49ers. That could end up being the team from the NFC.
There you have it. Jordan Dajani, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
So the Command Skins, I know that's your hometown childhood team. They're going back to Carson Wentz. They are going away from Taylor Heineke, the Miracle Man. Your thoughts?
This is a puzzling choice. I'll put it that way. And, we could spend an entire segment on this. When Carson Wentz was struggling, I think he went 2-4 as the starter in his first 6 games. When he was struggling, the fan base was screaming for Taylor Heineke. When Taylor Heineke has been struggling over the past couple of weeks, there's been no one screaming for Carson Wentz except Ron Rivera. Now, Ron Rivera has said himself that he was the main reason that Carson Wentz has found himself in Washington. So Carson Wentz wearing a Commander's uniform is because of Ron Rivera, and this is a perfect opportunity for him to show the fans and show the NFL that he was right, that Carson Wentz can lead a team down a pivotal stretch, 2 weeks left in the regular season, must-win games, and get that franchise back to the postseason for the first time in a couple years. Now, that being said, I don't know if I would make that move. Taylor Heineke is the fan favorite. He has the locker room. He's been having more live reps over the past few weeks than Carson Wentz. And I also would throw in there that he has that clutch factor as well. I have a lot of faith in this guy when it comes to putting together a game-winning drive. just because he struggled against the number one defense in the NFL is not enough evidence to me that would result in his benching. But with that being said, Carson Wentz has some games left on the schedule here. He has a chance to win back the locker room and the team at large, the fan base, against the Cleveland Browns in Washington this week. So that would be a really big game to keep an eye on this Sunday.
How about the Raiders? They're benching Carr and going to go with Jared Stidham.
Whoa, man, let me tell you, I think this is probably the number one story of the week. Over Tua Tagovailoa, over all the playoff stuff, this is the number one story to me because I don't care about what it means for this season. Yes, the Raiders obviously are still in the playoff race, only by maybe a 1% chance. But at the same time, I think that this signals that this Raiders franchise is moving on from Derek Carr this offseason. If he were to be hurt, suffer some kind of major injury over the next 2 weeks, the Raiders would be on the hook for $40.4 million over the next 2 years. Derek Carr signed a very friendly team extension this offseason. And if they are going to move on from Derek Carr over the next however many years, it has to be this offseason. I think today we've seen that choice. There's been other reporters like Ian Rappaport who have said, hold your horses. We don't know anything just yet. But I think that this signals that the team is moving on from Derek Carr, and he will be playing football elsewhere in 2023.
Jordan Dajani, our guest. Boy, bringing it today. CBS Sports, at Jordan Dajani on Twitter.
Well, Jordan, since you're talking about who's going to be playing somewhere else next year, what's going on with Zach Wilson there?
Yep.
The baby face.
Oh, man, Zach Wilson. Talk about losing the locker room and the fan base. I think he threw an incompletion on the first play of the game, a very smart incompletion, by the way, against the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football, and boos just rained down from the stands. It was very clear that his time in New York appears to be done. Now, Robert Saleh can say that, he's not done in New York. We still think this guy has potential. Well, actions speak louder than words, and I'm waiting to see what the actions are going to be this offseason. And I got to say, it's going to be fascinating because I don't know if we've seen this before, right? A number 2 overall pick being moved after just 2 years. They're not going to cut him. They're going to try to find some kind of trade compensation, although whatever trade compensation comes their way will pale in comparison to what they gave up for this guy. But, man, Zach Wilson, he obviously is a quarterback that has the yips. But at the same time, looking at this guy in terms of as a processor, he's not seeing the field. He doesn't know how to go through a progression. He's lacking a lot that is absolutely needed from a prospective franchise quarterback. So I don't know if this kid can bounce back. I'll put it out that way. I think he's been one of the worst, I'll say actually the worst quarterback in the NFL since he started that first game against Carolina as a rookie. He has never looked good to me. So I'm very interested to see what his future holds for him moving forward, but I'm pretty certain it's not going to be in New York.
Well, you're right about that, but someone whose future we don't know, and that is his health, is Tua. With the Dolphins and his concussion issues rearing its head there with the Dolphins and the organization, letting him play at the end. And I don't know if the player told him that he hit his head or whether an observer is supposed to see that he hit his head. But that fourth quarter, he looked like a different player. What are your thoughts on what happened in this situation as far as the concussion, I guess, observations of Tua and then how it came out the next day?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with this story. First of all, I'll say that I think everybody needs to calm down with the hot takes on Twitter because everybody saw the hit that he took when he bounced the back of his head off the turf, and nobody said anything. Right. He showed no form of ataxia, which would have immediately put him in the concussion protocol. He was talking to his teammates in the huddle. He even talked to media after the game, and no one thought that he was out of his mind or that he wasn't feeling well. He self-reported his own symptoms to the team the next day, and that's what landed him in concussion protocol. I remember seeing that hit live, and I was like, that's kind of reminiscent of the hit that he took against the Bengals, except he's obviously not, majorly injured. So, I'll say this. If doctors tell me that I need to bench Tua for the rest of the season, then I'm going to do it. But I'm not going to bench him for the rest of the season because he suffered multiple concussions. The Dolphins obviously find themselves right on the brink of playoff elimination. These next 2 weeks are going to be huge. They're making the right decision, of course, by starting Teddy Bridgewater against the Patriots, but that might set them up with a win and you're in Week 18 situation against the rival New York Jets in Miami. I would venture to guess right now at this point, and things can change, but I would venture to guess at this point that Tua Tagovailoa will play in that regular season finale. But, you're right. This guy suffered multiple concussions. There's definitely reason to worry when it comes to his I don't want to. What do you want to say? Health
Long-term
and
health.
wherewithal when it
Yeah.
comes to his franchise quarterback potential. That's what the Dolphins front office is really focused on. But right now they're focused on getting him healthy and hopefully back into the starting lineup for that Week 18 finale.
Well, staying on the quarterback note, Nick Foles took his turn as the Colts quarterback and failed as well. So I'm interested to see who's in the radar for the head coaching job there, or if Jeff Saturday is going to be the answer.
Yeah, yikes. That did not look good. I think a lot of people were looking for Nick Foles, jolly old St. Nick, to bring some energy to that offense. He did not do that at all. He threw 3 bad interceptions. The fan base obviously is up in arms with what's going on there. Now, in terms of the head coach moving forward, I would imagine that, Jeff Saturday is going to get an interview, but it's hard to believe that he's the leader in the clubhouse right now, just in terms of how things have gone. I think he's won 1 game. It was his first game as the interim head coach. He, of course, was on the wrong side of NFL history with the largest comeback in league history. That's not something you want on your resume. I would imagine that Irsay is going to look elsewhere. Although he loves Jeff Saturday as a person and as a leader, he needs to find somebody who is an experienced head coach, someone who knows more about what they're doing and is more fit for the job to turn this franchise around, because ultimately that's what Irsay wants.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see Derek Carr in his uniform. I mean,
We may.
People are already photoshopping it. JD, great stuff, man. At Jordan Dajani on Twitter. CBS Sports, always fantastic NFL content. Tons of stuff there from you and your cohorts. That's where everybody needs to go first for all their NFL information. Thank you, sir, for the time today. And again, continued happy holidays into the new year.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, JD.
All right, Lucas, what do we got when we come back? You got Preds tickets to give away? All right, Lucas is giving me, he's holding up a finger, and I think that's a thumbs up and not something worse. So when we come back, you want to win Preds tickets, get your dialing fingers ready. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Smashville. Oh, how about this? Calling all University of Tennessee fans, students, and alumni. It's University of Tennessee night at the Preds game on January 3rd. Add a little orange to the gold. Be caller 5 now. You can win tickets to see the Preds host the Canadiens on January 3rd at Bridgestone Arena, 615-737-1045. Caller 5. Preds take on Montreal at 7 p.m. You can represent the Vols at the Preds game on January 3rd. Buy a special college night ticket, and you get a co-branded hat. Just visit nationalpredators.com/tickets and don't miss out. Or you could just be caller 5 now at 615-737-1045, and then you could just get them. You don't even have to buy them.
Get them.
Oh, we had a caller, but he just got blasted right off here like Star Wars. I was going to hit the button there, and he disappeared. So caller 5 will get it. So let me tell you this. Spot Track did a look at the Titans and every other NFL team's quarterback room. This is what they said about the Titans.
Quarterback room with Dobbs and Malik Willis?
It only says Malik Willis because technically Dobbs is not under contract next year, and Malik and Tannehill are. I think Dobbs could be for sure.
Okay, so it's just Tannehill and Malik
It's
Willis.
only a two-man race.
Okay, got it.
It says 2023 top 51 cap space minus $16.5 million. That's not just quarterbacks. That's the whole team. They're 16.5 in the hole before anything happens. They have no cap space. They have minus $16.5 million. It says before 2022, Ryan Tannehill had no chance of sticking around Tennessee for the final year of his contract. That sentiment has changed, and not because he has lit up the stat sheet this season. Tannehill's non-guaranteed $27 million for 2023 comes with a $36.6 million cap hit. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. A small restructure should clean things up a bit while not damaging their future cash caps too much. With that said, Tennessee could very much be a landing spot for Jimmy Garoppolo, Jordan Love, etc. this offseason, which then puts Tannehill's contract on notice. The Titans can free up $17.8 million of cap space with a pre-June 1st release of their veteran quarterback.
Ooh.
Jimmy G, Jordan Love, I mean, he put a bunch of guys on that pile. Baker Mayfield's going to be available. Sam Darnold.
And Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is going to be the next guy to be available. It adds backup Malik Willis didn't exactly instill confidence in the position going forward, but his 3-year, $3.5 million non-guaranteed remaining rookie deal offers little to no risk from here on out. Will Tennessee try to find their next future quarterback this offseason, or is that plan still a year away? Boy, that is an interesting question.
Boy, I don't know if we're going to address that today, but that will be when the season ends, whatever that will be. And Malik Willis will have a say in this. So we shall see with these next two, assuming starts, how much can he progress and get better? That will be the answer. And right now, I don't even know if he's a backup quarterback in the NFL based off what he's done so far.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head. It's just like all the Vol fans, like Lucas sitting in here wondering, boy, can Joe Milton take this job? Because he could take a big step if he goes and he plays well in the Orange Bowl against Clemson. You know, he's got here's his big opportunity to show I'm the guy because he's got a whole year. He can come back. Got the young guys barking down his heels, but he could still put his stamp, at least in a big way, on the job. Well, I think a lot of us thought, well, Ryan Tannehill, he gets beat up, but he never misses games. So we're not going to get a good look at Malik Willis this year. Well, guess what? Ryan Tannehill's missing games. Malik Willis is getting his opportunity. Like you said, he's got 2 more games.
2 more games. And right now, he's holding pat. I'm just wanting him to prove that he can be a backup quarterback. Right now, it's not where he needs to be. So you got to continue to progress. See with the bright lights on how he looks. Everybody nationally could see him, and then help him out a little bit with some play calling as far as what his skill sets are. But keep running the offense to a certain extent, and that's why I also would play Henry too. I think he needs a running back to prove that in a running game, and Henry's the best to help him facilitate that to be his best. So, but naturally, I'm a ding dong, and he probably won't play at all. And I'm talking about the king.
Yeah, I am. So today on the NFL calendar, if you play on Thursday, today is your Sunday. So I have been like rehashing the Twitter for Jimmy Wyatt and some others who would be putting out this information. When we do the pregame show, let's say on Sunday, I'll always start out and say, okay, on Saturday, the Titans brought this guy off the practice squad and this guy off the practice squad, and then this guy's here and this guy's there. So today's the day that's going to happen. But Blaine, as fate would have it, as it always does, they don't have to release that information until 3 p.m. Central Time.
No,
It's 2:52 and change right now Central Time. So we will not get that information today. I know 3HL will. So they're going to give you this smorgasbord of stuff. And typically what they do on Saturday and who's up and who's down practice squad wise might tell you something about who might or might not play tomorrow night against Dallas.
No.
Because we distilled it down in the first and second segment of this show to 5 people we feel like are the biggest possible sit-outs for tomorrow night. Large Jeff, Amani Hooker, who's battled a bunch of things. It's a knee right now. Fulton, which is his groin. Boy, think about how swell that groin could feel in a couple of weeks if it didn't get taxed again tomorrow night. King, and there's precedent for this before. Rhett Bryan reminded us, tight hammy in 2019. He set the week before the last game, and then he ran buck wild against the Texans. And Danico Autry, who played and played pretty well, but would you give him, because he seems to be the secret sauce to the defense, do you give him some time off? It's down to those 5 guys. Down to those 5.
Yeah. Man, that's tough, God, man. Hey, man, we dressing out, man. You may be playing limited, but you better be ready to go. We be ready to go. I wouldn't even tell them. We're playing just like a regular week, and then I start taking them out gradually throughout the game.
Well, 3HL's got you covered. They'll tell you who's up and who's down, and then tomorrow is game day, and we'll get you all the way up and, well, as far as we can go leading up to kickoff tomorrow, but we got to get out of here now.
But in the meantime,
in between time,
peace.